The amount of money you can keep may not be decided only by your bank account, your savings plan, or the safe in your house. It may be decided much lower in the body, in the pelvis. That sounds strange at first. We are taught to treat money as a problem of strategy, discipline, timing, and luck. So we study harder, work longer, make better plans, and try to become more capable. All of that matters, but if money were a living presence, it would not only look at what you earn, it would feel whether there is a place in you where it can safely stay. Beneath every financial decision, the body is already speaking. It tightens before a risk. It pulls away from support. It stays alert even when there is enough. In many spiritual traditions, the pelvis is where safety, desire, belonging, and the right to receive first take root. Not the wallet, not the bank account, the pelvis. Because before money can feel like something you can keep, life has to feel like something your body can hold. You may already be capable. You may already be successful. You may even have money. But if some deeper part of you is still bracing for loss, every increase carries its own shadow. The account grows, yet calm does not. Opportunity comes close, yet the lower body stays guarded. So pause for a moment. Let your attention move below the busy mind. Notice the lower belly, the hips, the base of the spine. Does this place feel supported? Or does it feel like it has been quietly protecting you for years? Perhaps wealth has approached you before. Perhaps it did not leave because you were unworthy. Perhaps it simply found no place inside you that felt like home. Welcome back to Momentum Arc, a space for inner exploration and spiritual growth. Your likes, comments, subscriptions, and super thanks support this work. They also help it reach someone ready for a different way of seeing. Anodea Judith is an author and teacher. Her work is known for bringing chakra philosophy into conversation with Western psychology. She trained in clinical psychology, somatic approaches, yoga, and trauma recovery. In Eastern Body, Western Mind, Judith uses the chakra system as a map for human development. She connects each chakra with needs, emotional patterns, childhood experience, and the work of healing. This is a spiritual and psychological framework, not a map of medical anatomy. Its value lies in the questions it helps us ask. Where do we feel unsafe? Where do we lose contact with desire? Where does the body remain defended after danger has passed? Eastern traditions often begin with breath, sensation, posture, and the movement of life through the body. Western culture often begins with thought. We analyze, explain, and try to direct life through will. Both approaches have value, yet modern life can leave us disconnected from both. The body becomes a machine we drive until it hurts. The mind becomes a room that never goes quiet. We can work hard and still feel unsafe. We can achieve more and still feel unworthy. We can earn money while remaining unable to enjoy, trust, or rest with it. Judith's work brings the body back into that picture. It suggests that lasting change cannot live only in thought. It must also become something the body can tolerate and trust. Money still depends on work, skill, timing, and circumstance, but our inner stability affects what we do with each opportunity. A body prepared only for danger may struggle to recognize support when it arrives. That is the deeper connection between the pelvis and wealth. The question is not whether your body can attract money. The question is whether your life can make room for it. In the yogic chakra system, the root chakra is associated with survival, safety, and belonging. It is the first foundation. When that foundation feels uncertain, every higher part of life can become harder to hold. Taoist traditions use different language. They describe the lower dantian as a center of vitality and steadiness. These systems are not identical, yet both direct attention toward the lower body as a place of grounding. This gives us a useful way to understand the pelvis. It is not a vault where trauma or money beliefs are physically stored. But it can be a place where tension becomes noticeable. The hips grip, the pelvic floor holds, the breath remains high in the chest. A body can continue this pattern long after the original threat is gone. Then money arrives inside the same old alarm. A new job feels dangerous. A fair price feels greedy. Rest feels irresponsible. Receiving help creates guilt. The problem is no longer the amount of money. The problem is the body's expectation that safety can disappear at any moment. This is why someone can have very little and still possess inner steadiness. Another person can have plenty and remain haunted by not enough. The difference is not moral strength. It is the capacity to remain present without immediately preparing for loss. In Judith's symbolic language, the lower body asks a simple question: am I allowed to be here? From that question, another follows: am I allowed to have what supports my life? When the answer is uncertain, money may become difficult to hold. It can be spent to escape discomfort, hidden to quiet fear, refused because receiving creates exposure, pursued endlessly because no amount produces safety. Wealth needs a container, not a perfect body, and not a permanently relaxed one. It needs enough inner ground to make clear decisions. It needs somewhere to land without becoming an emergency. Think of sitting before an important exam. The paper is still face down, but your lower belly tightens. You may suddenly need the bathroom. Your breath becomes shallow before a single question appears. Now think of meeting someone who draws you closer. Warmth may spread through the lower abdomen. The body softens before the mind has found an explanation. Danger can produce the opposite response. The belly contracts, the breath stops. Every muscle seems to gather around one message: leave. Neuroscience uses the term interoception for our sensing and interpretation of internal bodily signals. These signals come from across the body, not only the pelvis. They can influence attention, emotion, memory, and decisions. That does not make every sensation an oracle. Anxiety can sound like intuition. Old fear can feel like present danger. The body offers information, but that information still needs context. Even so, ignoring the body has a cost. You may analyze every option while missing the tension shaping your analysis. You may call a decision rational when fear has already narrowed the field. Money choices often happen this way. One person freezes before asking for fair payment. Another accepts a harmful offer because saying no feels unsafe. Someone else avoids opening a bank statement because the body expects shame. Listening begins with a smaller question. What happens inside me when I imagine receiving more? Do I feel space or immediate pressure? Do I become curious or start planning how everything could vanish? A settled body cannot guarantee the right decision. It can give you more room to make one. That room is where choice begins to return. The pelvis becomes meaningful here because it sits at the base of movement. When the lower body feels supported, you may feel less scattered. You can pause, sense, and respond without abandoning yourself. The choices that fit your life often bring a quiet form of solidity. They may still be difficult, yet somewhere beneath the fear, the body no longer feels divided against itself. Judith also connects the pelvic region with the second chakra. This center is associated with emotion, sexuality, pleasure, creativity, and relationship. It is where survival begins to become desire. Desire says, I want to move towards something. I want closeness, beauty, comfort, creation, or change. That impulse is not a weakness. It is part of being alive. This is where sexuality and money begin to meet. They are not biologically the same energy. The connection is more personal. Both ask what you are allowed to want, receive, enjoy, and keep. That question can carry shame. Perhaps you learned that wanting too much made you selfish, pleasure made you careless, comfort had to be earned through suffering, receiving placed you in someone else's debt. Those lessons do not remain as ideas alone. They can appear as a body that pulls away from attention, a throat that cannot name a price, a lower belly that tightens when desire becomes visible. The body is not betraying you. It may be repeating an old form of protection. At one time, becoming smaller may have preserved belonging. Silence may have prevented conflict. Refusing pleasure may have kept you acceptable. But protection can outlive its purpose. Then the same pattern that once reduced danger begins to reduce life. Returning to the pelvis means meeting desire without immediately judging it. You notice what you want. You notice what frightens you about receiving it. You allow both truths to be present. This is not permission to chase every impulse. Desire also needs boundaries, patience, and discernment. But shame cannot guide desire wisely. It can only drive it underground. When you can stand beside your own longing, money changes meaning. It stops being proof that you are worthy. It becomes one form of support, exchange, and choice. Receiving then becomes less dramatic. You can accept fair payment without apology. You can enjoy what you have without expecting punishment. You can let support arrive without surrendering your boundaries. The pelvis is the symbol of this permission. It is the inner place where desire meets enough safety to remain open. If the lower body has spent years bracing, it does not need another command. It needs a gradual return to contact. The aim is not to force the pelvis open. It is to notice what has been held there. Begin with movement. Walk slowly enough to feel each foot meet the ground. Notice how the legs, hips, and pelvis move together. Gentle hip circles or simple yoga can restore a sense of mobility. Strength is only one part of pelvic health. Some pelvic floors are already too tight. If you have pain or urinary symptoms, seek professional guidance. A pelvic floor physical therapist can help you understand what your body needs. Breath offers another way back. Place your hands over the lower abdomen. Let the inhale create a little space. Let the exhale soften whatever is willing to soften. Nothing has to happen on command. Then bring in attention. Close your eyes and notice the lower body without searching for a mystical message. Is there warmth, numbness, pressure, ease, or fatigue? Can you stay curious without fixing it? This quiet attention can reveal the money story carried alongside the sensation. What happens when you imagine charging more, saving without fear, spending on something that brings genuine support? Writing can help separate the present from the past. Finish a sentence such as, "Receiving money means," then notice whose voice completes it. Is it yours, or someone you learned to obey? Emotional healing may need companionship. A therapist, trusted guide, or qualified body practitioner can help when shame or trauma feels overwhelming. The point is not to excavate pain alone. It is to create enough safety for choice. Small forms of care matter here. A warm foot bath, an unhurried meal, or 10 quiet minutes can teach the body something new. Support does not always arrive with a cost. These practices build a steadier relationship with the person who earns, receives, spends, and keeps money. That relationship is the place wealth can begin to stay. The world teaches us how to pursue money. It rarely teaches us how to inhabit the body receiving it. So we keep moving, proving, and preparing. We become exhausted visitors in our own lives. A quieter form of wealth begins when you return. You sit without rushing toward the next task. You feel the chair beneath you. You let the breath reach lower. You discover that stillness is not failure. This does not mean a cup of tea creates income. It means pressure is not the only source of useful action. A regulated body can notice more, choose more clearly, and recover from risk without collapsing. Then the pelvis becomes a container for your presence. It becomes a home for desire without shame, effort without panic, and pleasure without apology. Spiritual growth cannot remain above the neck. It must enter the way you breathe, stand, rest, speak, and receive. Otherwise, insight stays beautiful, but homeless. When you begin caring for the body's signals, money may no longer carry every unanswered fear. You can meet it with more steadiness. You can let it serve life instead of asking it to prove that life is safe. Money is not a kite you must grip until your hands ache. It is closer to an old friend. It stays where there is honesty, respect, and room to breathe. Perhaps that is the wealth hidden in the pelvis, a ground that lets you remain present when life offers more. Stand firmly in your own life, and what once passed through may finally recognize a place to stay. And when you stop ignoring the body that has been carrying you all along, money may come closer, not as a stranger to chase, but as a familiar friend who has finally received your invitation.